long story short, we're going to be doing some world quests today, but before we get to that, just a reminder to those who watch this on YouTube, subscribe to the stream, and for those of you who sit idly in the chat, because of avoiding spoilers, we're going to be still sub-only on the chat for a while. If you want to know when I go live, join the Discord. I don't ask that you like or sub in the video, but I do appreciate comments because I do like responding to those. And before that, that's all of the announcements out of the way. Now, today I plan on doing the... I know 4.2 just went live, but I still want to finish the 4.1 world quests and do some world exploration today. And next time we stream Genshin, we'll probably be doing the Risley character quest. So, I don't know if I'll have time to do it, but I would also like to do that other world quest from 4.1 where we can continue the whatever's going on with the what's his name, Virgil, the guy that tried to drown us in the Neisenkreuz Institute of philosophy or whatever. No clue. No clue what that guy's deal was. He was kind of racist now that I think about it. So I'm probably about to get interrupted by Paimon as well. I'm probably going to make an edited version of this for YouTube. The full stream, I probably won't move over to YouTube. I'll probably edit a lot of this out. I've noticed that the world quests tend to be a little bit long, and they tend to have a lot of talking. But for the most part, there's a lot of walking around. So unless people are talking, and there's missable dialogue, I'm probably not going to show a lot. If I can cut this down to lower than 3 hours, I will. Definitely edit a shorter version.
Everyone's laundry is still on the line. May I be excused to fetch it in?
Why do I have college? Oh, that's right. I was fighting the Dendro Cube with this party. What is this place? It's all run down and shabby. Oh, wait. Seems like there's someone over there. There's no end to the stupid mecha. Oh, my lovely muscular legs now full of these horrid welts and bruises. Thank you, friend. If it weren't for you, I'd still be taking a beating from those mecha. So I forgot to introduce you. And Desnos, member of the Fontaine Research Institute. Assistant researcher, or so I used to be. Now I'm responsible for receiving the adventurers who come from the recruitment conducting preliminary qualification reviews. They're called preliminary qualification reviews, but it's more just me checking if they're carrying all the proper documents with them. After all, some adventurers can't even get the documents right. So you're looking for adventurers? Ah yes, we've been adding an adventure skill to recruit adventurers who can investigate and search the ruins of Fontaine Research Institute. Oh, this is the Research Institute quest line that I also skipped. Maybe I should do this one. After all, nearly the entire institute was destroyed in the explosion, and we don't have a lot of manpower. This violates the institute's non-disclosure agreements and some other work regulators, of course, technically only on paper. I think I've heard of this incident before. Paimon remembers. Someone named Edwin made a mistake. He was the explosion at the institute, right? Ah, so everyone knows, do they? Must have been some journalists from the Steambird with better to do. Anyway, what's happened, and that's what's happened, and that's where we're at now. In other words, we're looking for people who are good at searching for things in ruins. We're good at that. I can see you're more confident than ordinary people. I believe you got a good reason for that kind of confidence, and I'm glad you're interested in the commission. But if you're really planning to take it up, I'll have to have you fill out some simple forms. Yeah. Yes, your comprehension and attention are excellent. Better than the ones that came before you, anyway. Sounds like a lot of work. We don't usually have to jump through these hoops when we take a commission. Well, the commission concerns confidential items within the Research Institute. The ruins contain scholarly papers, research results that must be retrieved. There are assets in Fontaine Research Institute, and they are the foundation of rebuilding the Institute. Indeed, I hope the entire court of Fontaine. Oh, they will help the whole entire court of Fontaine. Only trustworthy, upright, elite adventurers may enter the ruins, and that is why we have a run qualification review. run a qualification review. It is also why I'm here to do preliminary part of it. Oh, and how many elite adventurers have you recruited so far? That's complicated. The ones I had high hopes for declined because they were in bad shape at the time. Anyway, at this point, at least one person asked, even if they couldn't do it. Alright, we have none. Are your standards too high? How else would you not have finding a single adventurer? There are rules set by Mr. Choiseul, and I can't do anything about it. In fact, I have even helped many adventurers to polish up their documents. But even so, no adventurers have passed the reviews set by Mr. Choiseul and Mr. Raimundo. But don't worry, you've already done much better on the previous ones. Your chances of passing are certainly higher. Please sit here while I go fetch some bottles of ink. We'll be willing to fill out some forms. A few bottles? Is one not enough? Based on my experience, if you didn't bring any documents, then one bottle is definitely not enough. First one, proof of adventurer's qualifications, 130-day record of travel history. Actually, I'm sure the Adventurers Guild has these records. Don't worry, I'll write you an official letter to explain the situation, and we'll request said documents from the guild. But for the resume, you'll have to fill in your habitual residence, your contact address, contact information, your name, names you've used in the past, your pseudonyms, your aliases. Oh my god, that you use when you conceal your identity. That's a lot of private information. No wonder nobody's passed. Then you have to sign a good faith commitment, notice of liability, notice of obligation. Oh my god, we fill out all the forms. All the forms. This is crazy. That's all the documents. Now you just need to go to the institute itself for the final review. I was meant to be the one to take you there, but those stupid mecha injured my leg. It's okay. Just tell us where it is and we'll head that way ourselves. Sounds good. I'll mark the location down on your map. Oh, and by the way, I suggest you head straight for the roof and talk to Mr. Knacker. The institute sent him to work in the area. You can go talk to him. There's lots of clockwork mecha in the nearby wilds, so he'll definitely be going to need a formidable guard. We haven't passed the final review yet. Why are you signing his work already? And there's no compensation either. Oh, now just hear me out. Mr. Knacker is a senior researcher at the Fontaine Research Institute, who even did research under Edwin, so he's got some sway in the institute. If you were to get along well with him and incidentally demonstrate your capabilities to prove your worth, then you're going to have a much better chance of passing the review. So what do you say? Should help this Mr. Knacker? And thank him for the privilege while we're at it? Precisely, you can tell him before arriving at the Fontaine Research Institute for the final review, Mr. Desnos has tasked me with being your guard and ensuring your safety. Anyway, I won't hold you up any longer. You should be heading to the roof. Ouch, my leg, this stupid mecha. Well, I guess I might as well change the title of the stream now. I've said this many times, Miss Cronny. Rebuilding the Fontaine Research Institute is our only goal right now. You said the same thing 3 times now. I know all too well that when you guys start repeating things like robots, there's definitely something big you're trying to hide. This must be Knacker. Think what you like. As for the numerous issues you mentioned earlier, I suggest you go talk to Mr. Raimundo. What is he going to tell me? All the things the Fontaine Research Institute is hiding? But his ways of beating around the bush might be more sincere. You... Anyway, Miss Chromie, I have my own business to attend to. The one next in line has been waiting for quite a while now. Hello, can I help you? Are you Mr. Knacker? Yes, I am. Alrighty. We have been assigned to be your bodyguard and escort you to the Fontaine Research Institute. That is apparently now cubes of water in the sky, from what I'm told. I see. Thank you for replying, Mr. Dan. I suppose I must also thank Mr. Desnos' injured leg. The wilds around do pose many dangers, and having an adventurer capable of passing the preliminary qualification reviews by my side would be a lot safer. I can't act like I didn't hear that. What dangers are there exactly, if I may ask? According to the investigations, a lot of Arkhium flew out of the Institute when it exploded. Arkhium? What the hell is that? Will the controlled Arkhium radiate energy? Will it contaminate the surrounding environment? Whoa. Wouldn't this entire area be contaminated then? I suddenly feel somewhat short of breath. That's just your imagination at work. After leaving its catalytic environment, Arkhium immediately returns to an inert state. It won't radiate or contaminate anything. It is apparent that Miss Crony's way of phrasing her concerns brought you unnecessary misunderstandings. Mr. Dan, I have another look at your documents. If you really wish to escort me, then we'll have to take something of a detour. I'm going to do a few nearby places to review technological assets of the Institute and nab some documents along the way. Who's this lady next to you? Some reporter. That is all. Indeed, that is what I am. It's a great honor to meet you, Mr. Dan. I've heard your name from my colleagues many times before. I'm Crony, a journalist for the political affairs section of the Steambird. If you have time, we could arrange time to have a chat. And of course, Miss Paimon is also welcome to join. I'm very interested in your adventures. Let me see, how does next Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday sound to you guys? I'm free at any time after 1 p.m. You can go for a cup of coffee. Definitely not that. I don't drink caffeine. I say that knowing that the only drink I have next to me is a Barks root beer, which is honestly my least favorite root beer because it's the only root beer that I know that has caffeine in it. It's also expired. You can't really make it out, but it says expired September 18th, 2023. So I'm probably going to get sick. Or how about right now? You guys stay here and chat, and I'll go about and work my duties. That won't do. I've already reserved today's entire interview schedule for you. Sorry, Mr. Dan. Paimon will have to chat another time. That's okay. We've got work to do today anyway. We need to escort Mr. Knacker first. I must stress again that I'm just an ordinary researcher now, and I have no further information to give you. Plus, we've also got tedious and meaningless work ahead of us. Even if you go ahead and interview me, you won't get any useful information from it. That won't be a problem, Mr. Knacker. All work has its unique value. And it's in our job to uncover it. Don't worry about me. Yep, all work has value, which is why we should raise the minimum wage. I'm thinking $24 to $26 an hour. Suit yourself then. Let's get going, Dan. According to the schedule, there's a document we need to get at the Institute Executive Office. Hopefully Ganyat wasn't called up for some other work. Alright. This must be Ganyat. This is it. Here, hang on a second while I go find Miss Ganyat. Whoa, what's that place? Building floating in the air. Paimon gets it. This must be one of those magical, I only want the second floor, just cut the first floor out buildings that you hear about in stories. The Fontaine Research Institute science is the finest in the world. Was this caused by the accident? Indeed it was. What you're seeing now is the central laboratory of the Fontaine Research Institute, or should I say, what was once the central laboratory. Mr. Edwin Eastinghouse was once within trying to develop a field generator using Arkhium. Initial estimates indicated that the device could lift an entire block of buildings. My guess is that the experiment didn't turn out so well. Of course, had Mr. Edwin not left 2/3 of the Fontaine Research Institute in ashes, he would have been a shoo-in for a post in the next director. And today, the heavy responsibilities that belong to the post of director, including a lifelong stipend of private dwelling, must be borne by the likes of Choisil and Raimundo. Paimon wonders just what kind of people Raimundo and Choisil are. According to the evaluation of my peers, they are the type who can speak to you for an entire day without saying anything. I want to put that to the test. So it is exceedingly accurate to say that Mr. Treisel's talents are irreplaceable. Look, Dan, the location of your final review for the former location of the Alain Guillotine Research Institute, and now the current residence of the Institute. Before the incident, weekly lectures were held there regarding the critical projects of the course. The old administration functions, and of course the old administration functions, are all still in effect, and can handle the final review. What's that plaza for? There are even seats around it. Is it an amphitheater of some kind? I've heard colleagues stationed at the Institute speak of that place. That is the sacred ground to Fontainians, a place where Fonta was born. Oh, that's where Fonta comes from? Refreshing Fonta, Fonta refreshment. That is the Fontaine Research Institute's academic assembly hall, and dedicated to the purpose of displaying the fruits of our research, such as the combat-capable artificed dancers, the gramophone, the turbine-powered glider, among others. We have a turbine-powered glider? Oh, that must be what the balloons are. I'm dumb. Previous analysis of the Institute assets show that, of the items I mentioned previously, Fonta may be the only scientific achievement that remains legally profitable. I couldn't help but notice your wording contained a few baseless accusations. I'm glad you noticed. In that case, would you mind giving me your opinion on the ongoing criminal activity setting off research materials from within the Institute? It's absolutely vile, and those involved in the matter ought to be arrested in accordance with the law. Well then, out of those, with access to the Institute's technological assets, and the capacity to commit such a crime, who do you believe it was exactly? Could it be possible that it was a criminal? I'm betting it's that guy that we ended up doing a commission with that tried to drown us. I'm betting it's him. Let's keep moving. I need to go to a file storage room first to retrieve a survey anchor, which we can use to monitor the strength and the energy flows. It's not that far. Let's go. Things are progressing pretty decently here. We didn't even really talk to you. This document needs to be filed and this one rewritten. It's just so much to do.
Incoming.
Finance Investigation Office notice to thoroughly investigate the Institute's loss of assets effective today. Funding approval for the auxiliary robo-arm hollow propulsion wind glider, the autonomous circuit aquabus projects is suspended, pending further reviews of finance and assets. Oh my god, that's a lot of text. Announcement regarding the memorial service of Monsieur Boutard. The Institute will hold a memorial service for Monsieur Boutard tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. in the Academic Assembly Hall in honor of his research contributions to the Institute and the people of the court of Fontaine. May he rest in peace. Anyone not associated with the Institute who wishes to attend the service should first register at the funerary office. They have a funerary office at an institute? Jeez, how many people are dying? Notice regarding sanctions of personnel conducting unapproved research. In summary, Patrice traveled to Liyue without permission and conducted experiments without the Institute's approval. He is also suspected of tampering with falsifying experimental results. He retained... That's the world quest that we helped with over in Liyue. I remember that. Falsifying experimental... He retains his position on probation pending investigation. All experimental data and papers from the project will be temporarily archived in the care of Monsieur Anatole, who, pending subsequent review and empirical verification, we helped with that. Notice of Edwin Eastinghouse's dismissal. In accordance with the Fontaine Research Institute's personal regulations, Edwin Eastinghouse has been absent from work without permission for a long period without having submitted any application and is thereby dismissed from his post as senior technician effective today, with further investigations pending. Notice of Coutrat's dismissal. In accordance with the laws of the Court of Fontaine and the Fontaine Research Institute's personnel regulations, Courtot has been dismissed from his position as a researcher of the Institute. Effective immediately, the Institute retains the right to pursue further legal action in accordance with the relevant laws. Alright, where were I? thumbnail stuff. I see the Tower of the Seven was right over there. Clockwork Mecha are very aggressive. Looks like Mr. Desnos is quite thorough. Alright, here we go. Mr. Knacker, you've finally come. Came across a little hiccup on the way. Never mind that. Have you retrieved the survey anchor yet? I was just about to bring that up with you. I don't know if it was due to the explosion, but the supporting tools that were kept are all damaged. You should know if you don't use the proper tools to retrieve the anchors, you will be subject to being struck by high-intensity Arkhium energy flows. Intense energy flow from Arkhium. Got it. Huh? What I just said was... I didn't... Relax, sweetie. You were merely speaking the truth. It's not like you offended anyone. What Miss Chalmette said is indeed the truth. I hope that it can stay the same for what you shall write. Whenever the truth is placed right before me, I never pretend that it's not there. That would be a mistake. Is that so? Well, it only takes the slightest bit of effort to fixate on something, but it always takes more brain power to avert your gaze from it. It's clear they're not having an argument with each other, but why does Paimon still feel like the vibe is even scarier than if they were? Hurry up and think of something almighty, Paimon. Why Paimon? How about we just get down to business? You're right, Miss Comet. Let's go examine the anchor. Okay then, that said, the area where it's located is still blocked. I'll go ahead and open those ports and unblock it. Dan, as I recall, you were an adventurer who came for the recruitment, yes? Well, when assisting our institute in its work, you'll sometimes be required to carry out certain precise operations. I'd like to see your practical capabilities first. Could you please go and help Miss Chamlet operate the energy transfer terminal to clear the area of survey anchor of obstructions? I guess I could. Paimon thinks that she's heard this story somewhere before. Something like your test began the moment you set foot in this area. You could say that. If you pass the final review, we'll do a detailed competency and assessment for you. After all, everybody excels at different things, and the work they can also take on differs, and so their compensation differs as well. How very blunt of you, but you're not wrong. Then we gotta show them we're worth it. Just treat this as an early assessment. Miss Chalmette over there, she'll explain to you how to operate the terminal. Please follow her instructions and unblock the area as soon as you can. I'll be watching you from the side. I really wish they went through the effort of voicing these, as much as I love reading, but it kills my throat.
Bet you can't keep up with me.
If I may, Mr. Knacker, could you explain what would happen if someone were to directly be hit by intense energy flowing from the Arkhium? Coma, subcutaneous bleeding, vomiting, so on. Would you like me to list them all one by one? If the survey anchors are really that dangerous, why would you place them in this room? You know, it feels like you're placing a coffee maker. I've already repeatedly emphasized that as long as you follow operating procedures correctly, you should not be at any risk of direct contact with said energy flows. As for why they're locked up in a room, well, it's to prevent certain idiots from taking any anchors away without authorization, of course. They have no idea how to work it, just figure might sell some shiny things for a profit. We hung up signs, distributed flyers, and even specifically organized a lecture to try to tell everyone not only were they worthless, but they could also do you harm. However, the anchors continue to be stolen, and thus we had no choice but to lock them up in a room. This is the truth. Are you happy now? It makes me feel more comfortable. Hello, Mr. Knacker has already told me that you're here to learn how to operate energy transfer terminal. Is that right? I've written the operating instructions down for you. Feel free to take a look at them. Device that resembles a research terminal. You can access the transfer terminal's viewfinder to collect transfer energy from different storage devices. If there's another transfer terminal within your viewfinder, you can also switch to the other transfer terminal by aiming your crosshairs at said terminal and pressing it. All collected energy will be transferred to the new said terminal. Other than transferring energy, transfer terminal can also convert cipher letters within a view into text. Good luck with your assessment. Cipher letter 1. This is a test for cipher letters. Haven't thought of a suitable scenarios for this tech can be applied, considering that the energy transfer terminals and their receiving terminals aren't widespread in Fontaine. The use of encrypted images will be limited within the Fontaine Research Institute. T.L. Hard just loves coming up with such useless inventions. I've already warned him not to vandalize the place. The encrypted images use special paint that requires equally special solvent to remove. The formula for the solvent needed to remove the encrypted messages is recorded below. The text below has been removed.
I feel like running.
This is that thing that I was fiddling with. There we go. Now I know how to work these things. There were some of these in Meripede that I didn't know how to use. Excellent work. The lock system has been opened. Your abilities to quickly grasp the mechanics and execute them are both outstanding. And your value far exceeds the majority of those who participate in experiments. I will truthfully report your performance as such. So what's next? Oh, Miss Crony, what's gotten into you? I suddenly feel like I'm gonna throw up. Ugh. Miss Crony, please drink this medicine. Explode surveys anchors radiate with Arkhium energy traces, and the place we are in just now has also been affected somewhat. However, this energy level won't leave permanent adverse effects on the body. Just take this medicine and you'll be fine. Ugh. Tastes terrible. Forget it. I guess this is also a kind of first-hand experience. These 2 bottles are for the 2 of you. Please drink them quickly. I'm feeling fine. Let Paimon drink it. But Paimon isn't feeling any discomfort either. Plus, the medicine doesn't taste good, right? So, Paimon would rather not take it. Really? That's quite interesting. And is completely at odds with the results of the applications of Arkhium Risk Report 3rd edition. We all should have been affected by the same amount of Arkhium energy. Huh. Harumph. We're constantly churning over mountains and seas. We're way stronger than people that you've got working here. Correction, you can now assume that all of the Fontaine Research Institute staff are now working out in the open beneath the sun and stars. Your report might consider mentioning the difficult work conditions we are enduring, Miss Crony. I've been wronged without having notified in advance. The Steambird won't just let this go. Putting this all aside, you clearly have an extremely strong innate tolerance of the energy flow. Dan, if so, you are certainly the best candidate to assist the Institute without question. Please approach the storage room and report your dizziness, nausea, and itchiness, or any other discomfort you feel during the process. Hold on there. Are you using Dan as a guinea pig without fulfilling your obligation to inform him of the risk first? It is clearly stated in the Institute Abbreviate Externally Contract Employee Agreement, Appendix C41, which he signed. Prior to being officially employed, the applicant shall be subject to harmless Arkhium energy flow tolerance test, and the Institute has the right to terminate the contract based upon the results of said test. I hate reading text. Who the heck reads all that? I do! You chose not to exercise your right to read the test, but each document was clearly marked. Please sign your name after carefully reading the document and making sure there are no mistakes. However, seeing as you seem to be completely unaffected by the energy flow, I believe you may be just the person we've been looking for. In any case, let's get down to business and take 3 steps forward in the storage room and hold still for 30 seconds. Alright. Gone this far, but Paimon still doesn't feel anything. Do you feel any discomfort? My head. Feels like it's going to explode. I'm feeling the same as always. That's a relief. Then Paimon was worrying about how she'd carry you out of here if you were to suddenly pass out. Although we've come all this way, we can't see Nacker or the others anymore, and it doesn't seem like we can hear them either. What do we do next? Paimon knows. Maybe they'll chuck some sort of box in here and communicate with us through that. That would be quite handy. Do they even have technology that cool? We'll find out soon enough. Paimon can't wait to see what kind of cool gadgets they might use to communicate with us. Dan, can you hear me? Oh, so they rely on the technology of shouting really loud. Shh! I can hear you. Do you guys feel any discomfort? Everything's good. That's great. Please continue to the survey anchor. You should be able to see it now. Once you retrieve it, it will temporarily fall dormant state and stop radiating energy. Then you should be able to come in. Then we'll be able to come in. Cough. Ahem. Be careful if you feel uncomfortable, then we'll get out of here. Cool, we're dealing with radiation.
Another target tracked down by Outrider Amber.
What should I do? This appears to be a reference book meant to teach common knowledge to people who have yet to come of age. Why is it placed inside the Institute Materials office? Fantasy Institute. This seems to be a literary work, a fiction. In this book, an entire Fontaine Research Institute was transported to a fantasy world, and many of the researchers go on adventures together in another world. There is a note stuck at the end of the text with the following comments written on it. Why do I still have to carry mechanisms and fight monsters even in another world? How is this any different from real life? Is this what counts as popular novels within the Institute circles? You might as well write one in which Mr. Edwin travels to another world with his Arkhium. Please refrain from placing novels inside the materials office. Also, Mr. Edwin has stated that he has no interest in traveling to other worlds. There's just a light novel mixed up in here. That's fucking hilarious. What if we do it this way? This seems to be a reference book intended to impact practical techniques. The book lists a great number of issues that Fontainians are quite unlikely to encounter in their daily lives and provide rigorous logical solutions to said problems. However, both the title and the page ending contain requests from the author for readers to not do such things in practice. You actually managed to retrieve the survey anchor without instruments, like it was nothing. That's amazing. The last time we needed at least 3 of us acting together to retrieve an anchor. I'm most certain that you're the exact talent we've been looking for. With your help, all of us are going to work much more smoothly. Alright. I'll keep it up for now. Let's leave this place and report back to the Institute post-haste. Basically, they gave everyone iodine pills. We're literally just working in a high-radiation environment. Hang on, where's Miss Crony? Paimon doesn't see her anywhere. She was feeling nauseous, so she stayed up there to rest. Don't worry, she's already taken her medicine, she just needs a little time. Miss Crony, what are you doing here? A bunch of mecha monsters suddenly showed up outside. They're on my heels and about to storm in. Leave it to me. Look out! Luckily, Dan was here. These were probably the clockwork mecha that the Institute used before to monitor energy flow, as they were equipped with Arkhium energy flow monitoring devices. Although they are now out of control, they still automatically converged here upon detecting the energy flow from the Arkhium. Mr. Knacker, should the Fontaine Research Institute be held accountable for these out-of-control mecha in the wilds? I don't object to that at all. They should be held accountable. Oh? If you truly have a way to have those buried in the ground rise up and speak again. Also, oh, so everyone who's responsible for that is dead. Good to know. Also, I sincerely suggest that you stay here and rest, Miss Crony. Mr. Choisel and Raimundo are at the Institute's new site, and they aren't going anywhere. Once you're feeling better, you can go there and interview them. Yeah, you felt so sick that you could barely even stand. Don't push yourself too hard. Your health is essential. No, I can't. Interviewing Choisel is the final step, not the beginning. That's why I'm following Mr. Knacker around. I want to experience everything firsthand and get tangible evidence. I have to question Choisel with the evidence in hand. That way he won't be able to get around the bush like last time. And lo and behold, I've personally experienced this so-called harmless Arkhium energy flow, no? Once I get to the Fontaine Research Institute, I'm certainly going to cover all the hidden truths. I feel like she's still gagging. I truly admire your professionalism, Miss Crony, but are you sure you'll be able to make it the rest of the way there? Don't worry, I'll be right behind you guys. I'm a reporter, after all. This reminds me of my Chasm days. Kinetic Energy and Engineering. Executive office located at the intersection between Liffey and Fontaine Research Institute. The Kinetic Energy Research Institute is primarily responsible for administrative tasks, academic assembly hall, central laboratory. Yeah. That was a map. Cool. A perfect yesterday. The backup medicine is also nearly finished. I'll go back and get more from the Institute later. Wait, do we even have any medicine left? That's not good. That's kind of important. Wait, Mary Ann Memorial Park?
Don't blink.
This was literally just called Mary Ann Memorial Park. Mary Ann Memorial Park. Let's see this park. It doesn't look like a park at all. When the explosion happened, the place was hit with the first shock waves, and the buildings. There might have been some paper assets. Interesting. Dude, here is so broken up. They're just desperate. Leave them be. Miniaturized personnel recording device. Experimental researchers. Men will be happy to see this. Artificial dancers. Interesting. So this is Mary Ann National Park. That's gotta tie into that other fucking storyline, doesn't it? The Neisenkreuz Adventure Team? Research Institute Chronicles. Alright. Financial reports. Let's take them with us. This just looks like old copies of the Steambird. Just toss them. That's fucking funny. Be something under these storage drums over there. Pile of storage drum, also Institute property? I guess so, but we need to remove them. Alright, there seems to be really nothing of value here. It's time to move on. A researcher who once worked together with Edwin Eastinghouse is now kicking storage drums around in a junk heap. Meanwhile, the Fontaine Research Institute still complains about being short-handed. The way these researchers go about things, it's truly unfathomable. Everybody's worth is reflected in different ways, and kicking storage drums is my way of doing so these days. But I've heard prior to Edwin's big screw-up, you had quite some way in the Institute. Some sway in the Institute. Some might even say that you were second only to Edwin himself. Eh? You were that powerful? That no longer means anything. Now I'm merely someone who was fortunate to survive the project, and one of the culprits who turned the central laboratory into what it is today. This is the only information I can offer you, Miss Crony. I wonder if her name is meant to be Crony, like some scummy crony that works for somebody. Well, I believe that was plenty. Let me write that down, huh? Where are my pen and notebook? My whole bag disappeared. Put it right next to the strange-looking mecha just now. Where did they go? You mean the one behind you? Huh? Help! Man, you are accident prone.
Speed of light. Hey! Nowhere to hide. Hey!
What's up with these mecha monsters? Why do they move sometimes and stop moving at others? I fear that anyone could have answered that question now as well, indisposed. Let's hurry over to the incident. Dan needs to participate in the final qualifications after all. No matter where you are in Tivat, you can always find these yellow berries. What is that thing? Looks like a giant raffle machine. Hey, Choiceal. Raimundo, nothing can go wrong here, right? Everything is running according to the set orbit, Choiceal. Round and round it goes, without any errors. Error-free everything might be, I'm just worried about getting dizzy. Mr. Choiceal, Mr. Raimundo. Ah, Knacker, it's great to see you. Have you taken care of those survey anchors? I trust that you've done as you always have. Complete your tasks to perfection. I have. Allow me to give you a brief report. With Dan's assistance, the anchor was successfully retrieved without any equipment. That's unbelievable. You were able to retrieve one without the use of any instruments? Goodness, thank heavens. The entire Institute right now only has 3 complete sets of such equipment, and I was honestly worried as to how we might retrieve the anchors as soon as possible. I didn't really do anything special. It was nothing compared to the other things I've been through. Is there any critical data in the anchor, Mr. Choiceal? Of course not. Some insignificant data, Miss Crony. I agree with you. After all, there's no way for insignificant data to radiate with harmful Arkhium energy flows, is there? Energy flow? I mean, of course, it's necessary and must exist as a technological means of preserving the... What I'd really like to know is why the Fontaine Research Institute would place these survey anchors to monitor the Arkhium energy flow after the explosion. Certainly. Obviously, these survey anchors are used for monitor... Do you not know? Miss Crony talks so fast, like a dendro slime on fire. Whopper flower spitting fireballs. Allow me to be more specific. How exactly is the Fontaine Research Institute planning to deal with this explosion? Yes, I was just about to answer that question. This was an excellent question to ask, as many people are concerned about it. Miss Crony, I am so delighted that you've come to visit again. I must stress on behalf of our Mr. Choisel that the Institute has never changed its solution to the explosion. Once we have recovered all of the retrievable research assets at the old site, we will demolish the old central laboratory and do our best to restore the area's natural environment to its original state. By the central laboratory, you mean that building floating up in the air? How are you going to demolish a building like that? Shoot it down with a cannon? Blow it up? Of course we shan't be doing such a crude and simple solutions. The demolition will utilize our newly researched experimental field generator. This device can deactivate the gravity-altering field surrounding the Institute's ruins and land them on the ground safely. But wasn't this device also within said ruins? And wasn't it also the work of Edwin Eastinghouse that used Arkhium as its energy source? So based on what you're saying, the Fontaine Research Institute is still unwilling to give up this harmless Arkhium project, yes? I think they're not giving up so easily. You've been keeping up with what she's saying? Nope, I just repeated her last sentence. Hey, have you been doing this to pretend that you understand what's going on? Anyways, the Fontaine Research Institute is still trying to do dangerous stuff in the dangerous ways, right? A great summary, Miss Paimon. If we're discussing uncontrolled risks while we're walking on a road may be dangerous, you should also note that the energy source we're using is completely new and stable. Tri-state Arkhium. How does that differ from normal Arkhium? Does the new word in front of it mean anything? Just put quantum in front of everything. It makes everything sound smarter. Seems like a purely rhetorical maneuver. I'm sure Miss Choisel would be happy to have an in-depth conversation with you about grammar, but I've left Mr. Knacker hanging for too long. And that's just impolite. Mr. Knacker, I trust you've done everything that I've asked. With Dan's help, everything couldn't have gone any better. This is an adventurer who came for recruitment. Alrighty. Paperwork. Survey. Crony's ironclad professionalism as well as the severe vomiting reaction she had. From the joking look on Knacker's face, there seems to be no ill intent, just in his jest about the committed reporter, or so you assume. That's rare, extremely rare. I'm delighted that you are applying for the Work Institute, Dan. After hundreds of years of bad luck, we're finally catching a break. I'm confident that you'll be of great help to us. Here are the documents I signed. I'll leave them over there, don't worry about them. Aren't you going to take a look at them? We spent ages on them. Mr. Desnos also looks at them very seriously. These documents definitely have their uses. They certainly help us with it. Help us weed out the idiots, at least. As for you, however, I believe that your good qualities go far beyond what they can summarize. So let's leave them alone for now. So you're saying we passed the review? Without a doubt, yes. I like this Raymundo guy. I will personally prepare contact and notice that you'll sign for a follow-up work. Until then, Mr. Knacker? Yes. While Miss Crony appears to be having a discussion about energy safety with Mr. Choisel, how about you take Dan and retrieve the last 2 survey anchors? The energy flow control operations are nearing completion, and all that's left is to compile the data. Oh well, at least it's under control. You guys heading somewhere else? I'll come along too. This reporter lady sure has good ears. Alright. Go to the Institute Dormitories to retrieve the anchor. Go to the Institute Clockwork Operations to retrieve the anchor. Is this where the researchers spent their downtime? Is this even humane? Has the Fontaine Research Institute ever considered making renovating this place a priority? There should be a survey anchor here, just like Miss Crony implied this place needs renovation, and the power supply here is very limited. Or perhaps I should say there's a complete shortage. While I'm answering Miss Crony's questions, I'll leave the job of recovering the survey anchor to you. Compared to some other areas, the dormitories weren't impacted much by the explosion. Dormitories, but I don't even see one bed here. How do the researchers get any rest? It's not like they can sleep in chairs, right? Miss Crony, your idea of resting is very different from that of the researchers. When the researchers at Fontaine Research Institute says they need rest, they only want a quick break for their brain. Then they would usually come here, play piano, read, and have a drink or two if necessary. Wouldn't sleeping provide more rest for the brain? You may be correct, but to our researchers, sleeping is a waste of time in the first place. Sleep is for the weak. Sleeping is a waste of time. No, it's essential for rest. Sleeping completely cuts your brain of thought short. What? That's not acceptable for our research. Keep listening. Are you being serious? If you don't sleep, the only thing that'll be cut short is your life. Not necessarily. The Institute boasts an excellent healthcare system that guarantees researchers' health and well-being. Well, that's no reason to not sleep. Also, if researchers are here to give their brains a break, wouldn't that break in their thought process from research anyway? Not necessarily. It only seems like they're taking a break when actually they're still pondering different academic subjects subconsciously. It's akin to a vast ocean that, while appearing calm on the surface, still has a strong undercurrent beneath. Sometimes the undercurrents below are much stronger than the towering waves above. Jeez. I get it. You mean when researchers at the Fontaine Research Institute are on a project, they must keep working and are not allowed to rest, right? That's not completely fair to say. If they truly need sleep, they're free to go back home and do just that. So it's fair to say that as long as researchers at the Fontaine Research Institute are inside the Institute, they must keep working and are not allowed to rest. Your rhetoric is simply astounding, Miss Crony. Oh boy. Experiment day. The lab equipment that was ordered hasn't arrived yet. No choice. All I can do is force myself to go to Hotel de Board with Miss Portier. Mr. Portier. Troy recommended the seasonal poisson, oyster, solution, caviar, and fine shark. This does not seem important at all. You can read it on your own time. Want to take a nap. Got to do the project meeting later, so I can't sleep. No falling asleep. How I wish our research project leader would stop barging in during lunch to talk about our work. You cut the air with a knife. The free coffee institute is getting worse. It tastes like sawdust soaked in water. Might as well drink Fanta. Oh god. They think that Fanta is worse than sawdust and water? Alas, I do not know when I can be transferred to another group. I really don't want to continue research on this smart lie detector that Professor Moses anymore without resources inherited from him. We're like chefs working on a crafting bench. It just isn't working out. I've heard that the Institute has commissioned some adventurers to search for his base. If you ask me, they could just restart the project then, right? It's not like numbers are going to help us catch him. Gotta force research through on whatever. Interesting. There we go. go.
In adventuring, as in business, you always have to seize the opportunity while it's there. Oops. Come on. Fine, I'll put it here. Dealer had scribbled cipher letters all over the place. Why am I not surprised? He even erased the formula for purifying the solvent Bator left behind. Thanks to him, all of our project funding requests have been rejected. Guess it's time to kiss my bright future goodbye. Not only is there no place for traditional Clockwork Mecha research in Fontaine Research Institute, there's no place for me as well. Yeah, that tracks. I probably should try to secure a job at the Fortress of Meripede. I'm sure they need engineers there. I'm just kidding, there's no way I'm going there. I've heard there aren't even windows there. There's windows in some spots. I decided to do something out of the goodness of my heart. Although Butor is no longer here, I recreated the formula for purifying solvent based on the information left behind. I'll record the formula here so anyone who sees this is able to use it to create the solvent. And erase nonsense the dealer wrote. The formula is as follows. The text has been removed. I think this is pushing it.
There's an entire fucking sub-quest here on just how to get this stupid solvent. It's Clockwork Mecha here, too. They've been attracted to the energy spill. Please be cautious.
No escape!
That was an excessive amount of combat. But hey, we had a death. Those don't happen that often. I'm just gonna alternate. Something good? Neat. There should be a survey anchor here too. I'll open the door and leave the recovery to you. I believe this place was originally Butor's Institute of Clockwork Applications. In the field of clockwork machines, Monsieur Butor was one of the leading authorities. However, scientifically, the development and advancement of traditional clockwork machines had reached a bottleneck in terms of applications. Traditional clockwork machines were obviously at a great disadvantage.
Anyway, Monsieur Batour's program was slowly being marginalized at the Institute. His funding was cut, and he struggled to recruit the researchers. After a series of unfortunate incidents, Monsieur Batour's group finally disbanded, and this facility was completely abandoned. Monsieur Batour was terribly unlucky, if you ask me. Still can't forget how Choiseul just kept equivocating. And that Raimundo, so haughty and arrogant. Do you see how he was looking at me? I think you're much better than either of those two. Things would have never turned out like that if you were in their position. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Scatter!
Let's dance. Oh. Huh. Don't blink.
There we go. There we go. Survey anchor. Any adventure respond to the recruitment. Get this kind of survey anchor. There are quite a few. Survey anchor recruitment is part of the qualification review. And the initial phase of the
Gotta keep trying.
These guys hit hard.
Speed of light. Not bad, as far as treasure is concerned.
Jeez. Those guys were tough. What was it, 4 deaths there?
I'll protect us.
Well, 4 pulls it is. Alternate. 1. It's always the harbinger of dawn. 2. 3. And 4. Oh, wow. Nice! I would always love some Kale constellations. Right. Forgot about that. Trump card Kitty will increase all nearby characters' elemental mastery by 60 for 12 seconds, not including Kalei herself.
And I guess I have a Beto constellation now. Stormbreaker is used, creates a shield that absorbs 16% of Beta's max HP for 15 seconds. Source. Alright.
Jean will be upset if she catches us lazing around like this.
Alright, now we just have to return to where we came from. God, I still need to do Chongyun's story. We're never gonna have time. The way back here. This does look like a giant raffle machine to me. Mr. Raimundo, the survey anchors have all been retrieved. Looks like we really got the right person for the job this time. Put them over here, someone will come handle them. Now let us get down to business. Come here, please. There are some documents you'll need to sign. They're so thick. Why are there so many documents? Because no matter how one looks at it, escorting a researcher into the ruins of Fontaine Research Institute and the landing said ruins shall be no small matter. And it is such an important matter that it is only natural for us to explain every detail of the one carrying out the work. Who am I escorting? That'd be Mr. Knacker, of course, across the entire institute. There's no one better suited than him to deal with the central laboratory ruins. I request that I accompany Mr. Knacker. Wait, what? I think this is a terrific proposal. Choiseul, did you forget that we mentioned when we came up with the plan? We must keep the public informed about the rebuilding of the Institute with the utmost transparency. That's right. The new Fontaine Research Institute has nothing to hide. Edwin made some mistakes, but we're past that now. Please go write a report on it. Go to the ruins of the Institute and see that the mistakes Edwin and Eastinghouse made. Looking back again, the Institute is now just what we've been working towards, the cause we stand for. But allow me to emphasize once again that... And here we go again, Paimon's about to fall asleep. I truly admire how much you guys have to say. Not to mention how every sentence seems to magically make people fall asleep. Paimon's already feeling sleepy from just half... I'm actually interested in this! No, it's important business, so please come this way. Alright, complicated documents, prior experience, you finish them before knowing... This should be all of them, thank you. You're now externally contracted assistant researcher for Fontaine Research Institute. What about Paimon? Does Paimon get any title? You're my important assistant, Paimon. Assistant? That doesn't sound as cool. Don't worry, assistants play an absolutely critical role within the Institute. But let us get back to business, shall we? Things right now in the Institute are rather complicated. The matters you'll be dealing with are also urgent, so I won't keep you for much longer. While you're on the way, Mr. Knacker will inform you of some things to note, as well as what you will actually need to do. The rest is up to you now. The lot rests on your shoulders, Mr. Knacker. Well, please follow me, Dan. Well, let's get to the ruins. Sure thing. Don't forget me. Yes, and you. How could I possibly forget you? Remember, during our last meeting, did I really mention that we would keep the public informed about rebuilding the Institute for the utmost transparency? I really don't remember that. Perhaps I should check it in the meeting notes. Could you tell me what page it was on exactly? If by checking for the meeting notes you mean you wish to see this point made in clear writing, then I must say that it won't happen, as such a point cannot be surmised into a single sentence. This point was made based off the overall essence of that meeting, which was to first address morality and human relations and the sum total of social norms. Lastly, this concept, when extracted from the countless specific words and actions, is also the broad and generic that anyone can see to comprehend the abstract concept. So what you're saying is I didn't say that. Correct. Alright, where are we going now? Oh, we're actually going to the giant cube! Cube! Finally, we get to explore the cubes! Central Laboratory Ruins. Come on, Dad. Miss Crony, this way. So you mean we're gonna delve into this patch of water? That's right. With the help of this all-gravity condensed water, we can ascend the ruins of the Institute safely and efficiently. If you don't wish to do it that way, you may also go to the opposite bank and glide from the highest mountain using a wind glider. Forget it. I'm not that good at using a wind glider, and not really used to heights either. Well, now I'll go over a few things to keep that in mind where it comes to all-gravity condensed water. Somebody told me there's actually a Hydroculus that you need to do this quest to do, but at the same time you can just do what he said and glide from a mountain to get to it. Alright. So in a nutshell, it's the same as when swimming or diving. I feel like it's more like flying or diving. Diving mid-air will be quite a novelty. In that case, please do enjoy it and please do enjoy experiencing it for yourself. Is everybody ready, Miss Grimmy? You can still go back now if you'd like, and simply wait here, or simply wait here for us to return. Reporters never back down. I'll be right behind you guys. I'll try to, anyway. Alright then, if you insist, let's get going. Oh, the lag. Da 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 da.
Is this an answer from this world?
Up we go. Oh, that was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. That was a dumber idea. I might actually have to start cooking food soon. Oh, missed it by that much. Nope.
Let's dance.
Bye. Have a wonderful time. Enter the cube. Am I still going the right way? I hope so.
Let the show begin.
my bubble to get up? Or do I just have to glide into the next cube? Probably the smart thing to do. Ah, that makes much more sense.
Go, go, Baron Bunny! Let's dance. Ready, steady, go!
Things I do for bubbles. All of this to get to a lab. This might be some of the first time I don't cut out a lot of this exploration, because it's kind of neat. We made it! Oh, this is a boss fight, isn't it? What's this large plate? That's the experimental field generator that Mr. Edwin developed. Didn't it already blow up? It looks perfectly fine now. The thing that exploded wasn't this machine, but the Arkhium ore that powers its core. The Arkhium kinetic core. This thing, will it suddenly start moving by itself? Relax, this big guy can't move now that he's lost his power supply. But didn't Raimundo say that we needed to use it to make the ruins descend? If it can't move? Only part of it will be activated. The tri-state Arkhium can only support its operation at half speed, but that should be enough to retrieve the abnormal gravity state the central laboratory ruins are in. Paimon doesn't understand that at all. What do you need us to do? Please follow me. The place where you will need to work is in the back. Miss Crony, please stay here. Some areas in the back contain Institute secrets, and you are not allowed to have any exposure to them. I can see that back of yours from here. What secrets should be hidden inside? I have no idea either. That's why you're definitely not allowed inside. What nonsense. Come on. We signed papers. You didn't. Anyway, please wait here. If you take photos randomly, you might capture something related to Institute secrets. For example, the formula for sugar-free berry-flavored Fanta. This new Fanta product is quite important to the Institute. If you leak any information on it to the outside world, you could undergo a 1-month confidential investigation, and I must report to the Maison Gaston at the Palais Memoria 3 times every day and be questioned. Of course, you'll need to stop your journalistic work. Oh, don't worry. Even if I get taken away by the Palais Memoria for questioning, it will only be because I have uncovered a secret you're hiding. I won't let myself be forced to stop working for reasons absurd as leaking Fanta formula. I admire your work ethic. I hope everything goes well with your photo taking. Let's go. There's still work for us to do. I think that thing's a weekly boss. What was Knacker doing? Is there not a teleport waypoint up here? That's kind of annoying. Oh, there is, and it activated it for us already. Oh, that's annoying. Let's just clear the rabble out.
No one escapes my sight. Oh, hey, get him! With sword from shadow.
Alright. Sometimes I really don't get why the Institute had to design the support Clockwork mecha to look like humans. Just from the perspective of supporting research, hands and feet are far worse than tracking multifunctional Clockwork mecha apertures. What's this rock? Ah, this is the Arkhium that supplies energy to the experimental field generator. What restrains it is an energy supply device conveyed by Mr. Edwin. See this here? This circuit connects to the generator. All of the inert Arkhium we found, this one was the best in terms of purity and stability. And then boom, it went. That came down to Mr. Edwin. I trust that this wasn't the cause, or at least it shouldn't take all the blame. It's not going to blow up again, is it? When that happens, I'm going to need you to take us to the skies, Paimon. Paimon doesn't have super strength, but if it really does blow up, then Paimon could give that a shot. Don't worry. Now that Mr. Edwin's not around, we're completely safe. Alright, I'm about to use Raimundo's catalyst to transform this Arkhium into Tri-State Arkhium and activate that big fella outside. Then these ruins should be able to safely land on the ground. Could you please take some photos in the area? I need to use them for evidence for my work record. Didn't you just say taking photos wasn't allowed? It's fine. These will be used for reference for the Institute and won't be distributed. Unless you secretly keep a few for yourself, which I trust you won't do. Alright, and when you're taking photos, please look for Miss Crony while doing so. I've got no idea where she's run off to or where she's hiding. I really don't want to start the generator only to suddenly find a lady tossed into midair. That's probably a good idea. She's gonna get attacked by that damn thing, isn't she?
I'll protect us.
How suspicious. What's suspicious? Show me too. Ah, you gave me a fright. How are you able to walk around without making any noise? You were just too focused. Speaking of it, you followed us all the way here. Have you managed to find anything? Not really. Since Mr. Knacker said all that, I don't really want to get into trouble. In the end, all I could take pictures of were these dilapidated houses, broken rocks, and this motionless machine. I bet it would be able to take photos of a big scoop if I could fly in the air just like you can, Paimon.
Why be a reporter if you can fly? I was born to do this. It's the reason I exist. I, too, am very sure of that, Miss Crony. What? You're also able to walk without making noise? Is this a new technology the Institute's developed? Unfortunately, we don't teach a walking course. I've already completed all the preparations. In any case, please take Miss Crony back to the Institute. Once the experimental field generator is activated, it will rapidly change the gravity in the surrounding area. I've been through professional training and I know what to do in this situation. For your safety, it would be best if you stay away from here. And how are you going to get down? You don't need to worry about me. Mr. Edwin taught me how to use the generator personally. No one in the Institute can control the big guy as freely as I can, not even Raimundo. Huh, guess we'll have to leave it to the professional then. Be careful. Now, we'll meet again on the surface. I have a bad feeling about this, personally. This should be fine now. Please take Miss Crony with you and go down quickly. I'll be activating the big guy in a moment. Then this troublesome matter will be resolved once and for all. So you're gonna lower this cube to ground level? Oh, we're going all the way back. All the way back here. I thought we were just going back to the entrance. You're back. How is work coming along? Everything's going swimmingly. There's still some finishing touches that ought to be left to a professional, so Mr. Knacker is still up there. Feel like I haven't contributed all that much. Don't say that. You're our safety rope. Without you, how could we have dared let Mr. Knacker go up there by himself? It could be said that the trip was a brilliant success. There were other benefits as well. Miss Crony's managed to photograph some thought-provoking images that she would like to ask me about, and a few of those pictures should be even more interesting for Mr. Knacker. Let's not talk about that for now. Come, let's take a photo together. Monsieur Trousseau, we also need to present you with a certificate of and an honorary title. Honorary title. Ooh, what about Paimon? Paimon is also going to get a promotion from assistant, right? Seeing as you're Dan's companion, I guess you could join in our photo. As for the title, so there's an honorary title for Paimon then. Honorary titles remain limited in quantity and stay relatively rare. Otherwise, how would we get sponsors and support through rewarding them? Alright then. Allow me to award Paimon the honorary title of Best Companion, the honorary title of Best Travel Guide. A super awesome title. Best Travel Guide. What kind of nonsense titles are those? We've already been best buddies. Paimon doesn't need a title for that. You better make Dan's really awesome. Oh boy, here we go. We're getting another title for the Traveler. This honorary title is the highest standing besides you've also been promoted to the assistant of the honorary senior researcher. Come on. Let's get that photo taken. Assistant to the honorary senior researcher. Alright. An assistant's still an assistant, no matter how many words you put after it. Alright, let's take the photo. This is an occasion to remember. Monsieur Choiseul, you... Oh, looks like you're having a nice conversation with Miss Crony. Hence, this operation is a stepping stone to rebuilding the Institute. We can do it, and it is our duty to do so, as it has always been. Hence, this operation, as a former site of institution, will keep preserved forever, rebuild as the Fontaine Research Institute Safety Education Center. I think I've just about had enough. I'm certain that everybody has benefited from your speech, Monsieur Choiseul, but now's not the time. Now it's time to take a photo of the trial. Wouldn't you say? Yes, of course. Let's take a photo and mark this occasion with our dear honorary senior researcher of the Fontaine Research Institute. Please give us a second, Miss Crony. This shouldn't take too long. Oh, don't worry. It's not like the things you said weren't cliches anyway. Weren't you guys going to take a photo together? I just happened to have a camera with me. Please stand in position. Traveled a long way to get here. Please at least make it worth the trip, okay? Ooh, cutscene. Uh-oh. That's not good. I hope Mr. Knacker's okay. Was that an explosion just now? What else could it have been? I don't believe that that was an explosion. All things considered, it was probably controllable. That was an explosion. Paimon was nearly blown away just now. If not, what else could it have been? Mr. Troisel, could you please explain this to us? Was this something that you had anticipated? I must say you asked a very good question. A very excellent one, as many people are wondering the same thing. The color of these bodies of water, could it be that the condenser components are already in? Wait, Knacker hasn't come down yet. Right, he hasn't returned yet. Let's not delay, Dan. We need to go now. I want to go too. The truth behind this explosion. Please do not act rashly, Miss Reporter. If you dip one of your toes in the water, you'll be saying goodbye to this world within a minute. Don't scare me. Would you please just stay here? And according to your previous experience, the energy flow remains in these bodies of water shouldn't affect you too much. Please get to the ruins quickly and I'll find a way to meet you there, your own way. I have my ways. After the explosion, I was among one of the first up there to conduct a disaster investigation and evaluation. Things at the time were much more complicated than they are now. Anyway, enough talk. Get moving. Hopefully Mr. Knacker won't meet the same fate as Edwin did. My goodness. Was this also predicted? Oh my. What's your thoughts? How can I get up there? Also, will that medicine work? He said that as long as I touch it. And those pictures, darn it. I need to think of a way. It's just one thing after another up here.
In adventuring, as in business, you always have to seize the opportunity while it's there.
So many more mecha! I hate mecha!
Hey!
Explosion now caused the Arcanium to release another wave of energy, awaken another minute.
Scatter!
Ow!
This is not the end.
Well, another one of these, I guess. Looks like the Arkhium overloaded, and that cooling mechanism is also damaged. Knacker, what were you doing here exactly? This was my fault. I didn't think that Knacker would still be unsatisfied despite all the benefits I gave him. Eh? Benefits? Wait a second. Why are you looking at me like that? Did I say anything to you? His attitudes towards various matters. Sweet talk. Did he tell you guys then that it was people like him, Edwin's successors, who are reaping the benefits of this mess by stealing all kinds of information and selling it for a fortune? You guys are telling completely different stories. Paimon doesn't know who to believe anymore. If only he were here and then he could find out the truth. Paimon doesn't see him at all, though. If he's not here, where could he have gone? Maybe he's dead. I don't think he was killed at the very least. I'll explain why later. For now, we must stabilize this Arkhium as quickly as we can.
The suppression system shut down, and the ore is presently in an excited state. That's what caused this explosion. What caused the explosion? But the rock doesn't look blown up at all. I don't understand. Alright, I agree that this is indeed quite difficult to understand, but I'll explain in simpler terms for you. I guess I have no choice now. The experimental field generator that Edwin created is extremely powerful and can manipulate gravity. This, I believe, you already know. After the explosion, all the Arkhium in the Institute shattered into fragments. Among these fragments, many of them could have turned into an excited state and triggered an explosion at any time. With the use of gravity fields, they were all restrained and gathered beneath our feet. That explosion just before was a small one, caused by a small part of Arkhium in the ruins. That was affected by energy flow. I guess you could call it a minor rehearsal of a third great explosion. Then this ruin is a super huge, ready to explode piece of Arcanium. So you guys did all this not because you wanted to retrieve assets, but because you were scared this place would explode again. That's just one of the objectives of the operation. But right now our priority is to retrieve the condensing components that fell into the water and start a suppression device. There's also Arkhium inside those components, and the intensive energy flow is likely to have caused unpredictable changes in the water bodies. Forgive me, but I'm really not capable of retrieving them and installing them back on the inhibitor. Only you are capable of doing this. Please, for the court of Fontaine, and since it's urgent, let's just get the job done first. But once this is all over, you'd better explain everything clearly. If all goes well, I'll tell you everything I know. Man, I never realized how high up we were until now. Huh? Why can't we go into this water body? Huh. Oh, I'm dumb. Ugh, fucked it up.
Speed of light. Hey! Incoming. Nowhere to hide.
I wasn't expecting so much combat.
Propagate!
All of that effort just to get in the cube. Transformed all gravity condensed water body. Dangerous liquid has been modified somehow. Dangerous liquid has been modified somehow. Yada yada yada. That was a lot of effort just for one of those. I thought we were going down, not up. So much gliding. So many bubbles. Finally, we can get in there. This is giving me Sayre Island flashbacks. Alright. Everything's back to normal here. I'm surprised they didn't split this up into multiple acts. Because in all honesty, we've been doing this for a little over 2 hours already. And we're still in what technically constitutes an Act 1. Alright. This is a lot of effort. Am I going in? No, we're going to another cube. Am I going in now? Okay, now we're going in. There it is. And then there was one. Oh, is this one just gonna be easy? Oh, thank goodness, this one was just easy. Or not. This was actually interesting. We did it. We navigated through. Thank goodness. We donezo. We're all the way back at this one. Ugh. That was a lot of work. That Mr. Knacker really knows how to create trouble for others. Just like that boss of his, Edwin Eastinghouse. What are you doing here? We really can't catch a break here. Not only did the explosion break off the condensing components of the devices, but it also destroyed the self-sustaining system of the inhibitor. I'm about to remove the 2 backup Nemusa cores from the experimental field generator and use them to supply energy to the inhibitor. Luckily, this big fella here can't move, otherwise we wouldn't even have time to run. It's just not moving now, you mean. And knock on wood, don't say things like that. What if it actually starts moving? Don't worry, the main source of energy is that big chunk of Arkhium behind it. Although the Arkhium is transformed into an activated state, the explosion damaged all of the supply lines, so it's lost all of its energy supply. Huh. The Arkhium kinetic core should have been right here. Where did it... Hold on, you said the Nemusa cores were a backup energy source. And the activation condition of the backup energy source is the complete loss of energy. Uh-oh. This guy's moving. I'm on new wood from the start.
Scatter!
Edwin, you scoundrel, what did you do to this thing? Only you can turn it off now.
Let it rain.
It's only functioning at 1/3 of its power.
So!
Oh, hi. Yeah. Don't blink. La, 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 la. Oh, hi.
Ow. Oh, I can jump big high when it does that.
Here!
Speed of light. Cut to the chase. Right idea. Wrong time.
Not really sure what I was supposed to do there. Ow.
Propagate! Yeah.
This thing is fucking annoying.
Go, go, Baron Bunny!
That's not good. Oh god.
Bet you can't keep up. Don't blink. Let the show begin.
Let's just heal up. Ooh.
Incoming. Speed of light. Let's dance. Let the show begin. No escape. Go, go, Baron Bunny.
This is gonna be a long fight. I've never fought this thing before.
Incoming. Hey! Nowhere to hide.
Propagate!
Speed of light.
Ollie.
Don't blink. Let's dance. Go, Barbara, go. Bet you can't keep up with me. Let it rain. Ready, steady, go! Incoming! Hey! Speed of light! With sword comes shadow.
Halfway there.
Don't blink! Hey!
Spring forth!
Let the show begin. Speed of light. Got lucky that time. Go, Barb, let's dance. Go, Barbara, go!
Owie.
Yeah. plan. Get him!
Got it. There we go. I knew you could do it. Quick, grab these 2 cores. Let's go to hook up the power. Just like before, you go connect the energy source and I'll adjust the device. Something's happening. Finally stabilized. The Arkhium is transformed to an inert state. We in the Fontaine Research Institute are safe for now. But it seems there are ever more secrets. As for the things you'd like to know, I will be happy to answer to, but not right now. What I can tell you now, based on my hypothesis, is that Mr. Knacker stole the Arkhium kinetic core and triggered this small explosion. But before explaining in too much detail, we should return to the Institute and place the proper notation and partitions into this interlude. Or at the very least, we need to stop Miss Journalist from getting more deeply involved. The Arkhium kinetic core is connected to too many other matters, and we must handle it with complete confidentiality. So I would like you to cooperate with my work. Cooperate with your work? You're not saying to play along with your lies, are you? The scarier something is, the more you should share it with others. Then we can all work together and deal with it faster. I have my doubts about that. You two, every matter is its own way of being dealt with, and in this instance, we first must call for silence. But I promise I would never have you steer from your moral standards or demand that you have the same standard of behavior as we do. All I ask for you is to remain quiet. You need not do anything else. You might be wondering why I would have you remain silent while telling you the truth. I'll just come out and say it. Now, your coming here is the only good fortune that our institute has nearly had in 100 years. No matter what happens, or what the cost is, we must maintain good relations with you. I'm sure Mr. Choiseul feels the same way. Is telling the truth the cost as far as you're concerned? Is transparency something you'd consider a cost as well? Yeah. You're only telling us the truth now, which you could have done ages ago. Just what sort of cost is that? Dear sir, Paimon, telling the truth honestly is, in truth, the greatest price one can pay. Let's go back. I ask sincerely that you understanding provide all necessary cooperation. Ugh. This is a really weird matter.
Opening a chest is like unwrapping a gift.
Probably should have read this. Experimental field generator. Yep, you need Numa attacks. Probably would have been nice to have Lynette in the party for this. Gotta be getting close to the end by now, right? It's almost been 3 hours.
Let the show begin.
Miss Crony, everything we do is in the best interests of the people of the court of Fontaine. So what you're saying is the Fontaine Research Institute predicted the explosion just now? Are you kidding? Do you think I'm a gestionnaire? You can't hoodwink me that easily. I think Monsieur Choiseul has expressed himself clearly enough. The situation is still under control. The status quo of the court of Fontaine will not be adversely affected. Now allow me to make a statement explaining the events that really occurred. That's enough, mister. I don't believe you for a second. You should have seen everything, right? I'm begging you, tell me the truth. Let's cooperate with Raimundo for now.
No need to bother Dan anymore, Miss Crony. Allow me to explain the truth. Don't even think of trying to get away with it, Mr. Raimundo. I saw the Arkhium with my own eyes. The explosion must have been caused by it. Did you not repeatedly emphasize before that all the Arkhium had been properly processed and disposed of? Just what are you hiding? We haven't hidden anything. The explosion was always a controllable hazard removal directional blast. Controllable hazard... Wait, hazard removal? What? Mind you all don't bite your tongues on that. It basically means to use a small controlled blast to quickly remove Arkhium fragments, with the goal of activating the experimental field generator as quickly as possible. But couldn't have imagined that Mr. Knacker would steal the Arkhium kinetic core needed to start the experimental field generator. Not only that, but he intentionally activated that large chunk of Arkhium, using it to draw our attention while we made his escape. So is that the play you came up with just now? To dump all the blame on a researcher who could be dead right now, for all you know? I think what you really want to hide is that you're completely incapable of dealing with the Arkhium. The Arkhium is still a major threat to the court of Fontaine. Ridiculous. A person's life isn't something you can throw away to help spread your own lies. I've already told you the truth, Miss Crony. Please listen to a final word of advice. It only takes the slightest bit of effort to fixate on something, but it always takes more brain power to avert your gaze from it. Enough, I won't listen to another word of what you say, nor will I dwell on this. Your words, deeds, and all the facts concealed by this institute will be reported on in the next issue of the Steambird. Good day, gentlemen. I hope she finds the truth. Thank goodness. That's finally over with. Oh, and you too, Dan. I just did what I should. Such humility at this day and age. Those who do what they should are already outstanding. You didn't make assumptions about whether something is good or bad based on your subjective thoughts. Instead, you think carefully about what you do and do for the sake of the greater good. Truly an excellent person. But is it really okay? Paimon still thinks we should tell everybody the truth. There's no need to bear such heavy burden, dear Dan. You only cooperated by listening to my repeated entreaties. I am a senior technician of the Fontaine Research Institute, and the responsibility for this matter falls squarely on me and me alone. Miss Crony said, she has already obtained the truth she wants for herself. I wish her well. But as for us, we still have to be concerned about, for example, the whereabouts of Mr. Knacker and the Arkhium kinetic core. But shouldn't we first give a few awards as well, Monsieur Chusseau? Ah, right. Let's take another group photo together. The one we took before had an unseemly explosion in the background. This new photo must be decent enough to be worthy of your status of an honorary senior researcher. Look at us, a decent bunch of decent people. The ostentatious awards of ceremony have finally ended. This scene isn't explosive enough. God damn it, Ether. Paimon hopes we will never have to attend such a pompous ceremony ever again. The certificate and trophy are for you. I'll post a copy of the Institute bulletin board later. I hope our researchers will follow your example on this path. We must strive to take the lead and overcome all obstacles. And put in 120% of our... Actually, I have one more question for you. Oh yeah, I know what you want to ask. Even though your questions are all extremely complicated, I'm willing to answer them. In any case, I believe we'll have more opportunities to work together in the future, honorary senior researcher. This ends here. We got a trophy. Okay, we'll get our questions answered and then we'll end the stream. Why do you think Knacker is still alive? Considering the interests of the Institute and my personal point of view, I do in fact hope that both he and the Arkhium kinetic core were obliterated in that explosion. That would mean that the last traces of Edwin Eastinghouse's influence here would be gone for good. But like I said earlier, that explosion was actually small-scale Arkhium fragment resonance. Moreover, most of the Arkhium fragments in the explosion radius were ore waste that had been fully depleted of energy. Logically speaking, even if a large Arkhium chunk had gone out of control, causing the ore waste to resonate, such a violent explosion should not have occurred.
The only possibility is that someone specially collected Arkhium that has not been depleted from other areas and piled them here. They then overloaded that large Arkhium chunk on purpose to create an Arkhium resonance so as to trigger an explosion to cover up certain traces that would have existed otherwise. Knacker has always conducted research with Edwin and has a good understanding of the nature of Arkhium. It wouldn't take him much effort to do something like this. Still, that's just my preliminary conjecture. As for what happens next, we'll need to wait for the Research Institute to conduct more detailed investigation. But why did he steal the core? The Arkhium Kinetic Core is the most cutting-edge technology created by Fontaine Research Institute to date. It wouldn't be a bad idea to sell it or use it in development of another project. But considering the level of academic expertise, I would rather he sell the Arkhium Kinetic Core for a good price. About the Arkhium Kinetic Core. Before we discuss further, I believe Knacker or Miss Crony must have mentioned something to you already. They must have told you that the research projects for those Edwin Eastinghouse had some overlap. But this is not entirely accurate. In fact, the Arkhium Kinetic Core is the fruit of my joint research with him. In theory, we constantly inject the kinetic core with enough energy it can easily allow an experimental field generator to run at full power. After creating this core, we both realized the problem. We could barely find any way to keep it injecting it with enough energy to keep it at maximum power. Edwin and I tried powering it with a mixture of Nemosa and Arkhium energy, or by connecting large numbers of Arkhium cores in series to create a superpowered group, but neither worked. That was the situation until we found that giant Arkhium. Although it was always in an inert state, Edwin and I were certain that the ore had unprecedented purity. We believed that with the right treatment, this ore could definitely output a large amount of Arkhium we needed. Then Edwin and I had a disagreement. I offered up a more conservative proposal, but he wanted to solve the problem rather more quickly. Should know everything else that happened after that. About Edwin. He was a genius in a field of scientific research. It's no exaggeration to say that his talent was only second to our first director, Elaine Guillotin. At the same time, he was an inhuman monster. Nothing mattered to him other than scientific research. Edwin was willing to do anything or pay any price to advance his research. He once told me that the research results were the only remuneration he needed, he said. I don't need any remuneration. To me, research itself is the best reward. However, even though Edwin was a pure researcher, the people under him were all experts, in furthering their own interests, that is. Some secretly sold research assets, some plagiarized research results, and some used his name to scam others. They ruined the Fontaine Research Institute's reputation little by little. Like I said before, as long as his research could advance, Edwin wouldn't do anything about this. In this way, they used Edwin's name to take all the Institute's resources for themselves. The Institute could only continue to conduct detailed reviews of the personnel and funding of Edwin's project team. Mr. Troisel led many of these review operations personally. However, in the mouths of such people, these actions were construed as bureaucratic arrogance and distrust of researchers. More and more conflicts took place between us, and no one knew how to resolve them. But now those conflicts no longer exist. About the current situation. Your question is not a technical one, but rather an administrative one. I think you should ask Mr. Troisel about this instead. Why do you think Knacker stole the core? Do you still remember me flipping through the pictures of Miss Crony took in the ruins? There's one of Knacker working in front of the suppression device. It's quite blurry, but I'm quite certain that his actions are definitely not part of any operational procedure. That doesn't really mean anything, though. Maybe a thief came flying across from a nearby mountain and stole the core. That's most definitely impossible. The energy flow of the Arkhium here is the best anti-theft measure there is. No ordinary person can withstand it. Besides the timing of the experimental field generator's activation, it's simply too perfect. It cannot be a mere coincidence. I have a preliminary conjecture of Knacker, or should I say, the one who stole the core likely removed the Arkhium kinetic core early on, activating the backup energy source. However, the Nuesa cores are relatively inefficient energy sources, and they have to keep up continuous output energy to reach the activation threshold of this contraption here. Hence, this person intentionally activated that large Arkhium chunk, creating a modest but rather noticeable explosion. This way, when the Institute sent someone to investigate, they would be certain to fix the Arkhium inhibitor first. And by the time they realized that, they'd have to go to the experimental field generator to retrieve the backup energy supply. The generator would have already finished charging. From a technical perspective, such a modus operandi is highly probable. Of those within the Institute capable of doing so would be either Edwin, Mr. Knacker, and myself. I doubt Edwin had the opportunity to do anything to that effect, which leaves the two remaining suspects, myself and Mr. Knacker. Maybe this was all you're doing then. Yeah, you said that Knacker lied, but you've also been lying all along. Maybe this was all part of your plan, and you tricked us into escorting you here so you could grab whatever it was you wanted. Your accusation is not entirely baseless. After this, I will also apply to submit myself to the Institute's credibility review. As far as I'm concerned, though, Mr. Knacker was the one more likely to have committed this act, as if this was really his doing, then we should be the one with the most gain from it. Even if I am listed alongside him as a suspect, his chances of being convicted are certainly greater than mine. Welcome. Can I help you with anything? About the Institute's current state? Everything is good, better than ever. Now that the egomaniac Edwin is gone, the gang of thieves under him no longer exist either. More importantly, the Institute has had a chance to be reborn. We can take off the shackles and burdens of the past and focus wholeheartedly on building our foundations once again. That is, to work hard for the well-being of the people of the Court of Fontaine. I'm currently gathering some people and preparing the code of conduct for our organization. It'll include principles for the use of funds, research asset management methods, and ethical standards that should be observed in scientific research and work. All research-related behavior to our institute will have relevant rules and provisions. What a wonderful future. It's simply the best. Do you and Raimundo run things together? Now, to be precise, we deal with affairs related to different areas. Raimundo is responsible for getting scientific work and research back on track. I'm responsible on everything apart from that. For example, I'm responsible for arranging funds related to manpower, quarterly budget allocations, reaccommodating visitors, and getting rid of those journalists together with Raimundo. Our main goal remains the same, to rebuild Fontaine Research Institute and work hard at being all the people of Court of Fontaine. This is a whole muddy affair, and I'm sure this quest line will get expanded upon. Probably already has in 4.2 and maybe even 4.3. But that's all for now. This went on a little bit longer than I had hoped it would, but hey, we did something. We did a world quest. We came here to do a world quest, and we did a world quest. We'll be streaming again tomorrow at roughly the same time, and we'll probably be doing the world quest that I planned on doing today. And hopefully it only takes about the same amount of time. Till then, I'll see you all in the next stream. Bye-bye.